I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's when I was in high school. And I was spending so much money on stuff that never worked because I was being fed processed garbage. The seed oils, the cane sugars, the gums, the things that they allow in the foods in the United States. I was ready to feel better.
Okay, so we're both wellness girlies. We love wellness, but all about balance, right?
What were we just talking
I mean, listen, we like to have a drink, even though we love our wellness things.
I love a cocktail.
Yes.
I'm
a
Irish.
martini,
I can't
like
help
a dirty martini, a spicy marg.
with
Oh,
no sugar.
yes, love.
Just fresh lime and a little jalapeno. Spicy rim, my salt on the rim.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, it's so good.
It honestly, and it's funny because, and you have to tell me your journey with wellness because I feel like for me, I struggled with the balance for a long time because for me, I was like, initially, it was like very all or nothing. But then I was like, what kind of fucking life am I living if, I can't do the things that I enjoy while also integrating this part of me that I also enjoy, So I feel like it's both.
It's balance. It's both. And I think so many people try to restrict you on things that are that will like throw you off track. If you feel restricted, it's not gonna work.
Yes.
And listen, I've cut alcohol for other reasons, just for like when I dropped my son at college because I was like, didn't want to drink too much because I was sad. So like there's times like that when I've chosen not to drink,
Totally.
but I drink alcohol all the time. And I also, if I'm 90% of the time eating exactly the way that I do, an anti-inflammatory, which we'll talk about, you're fine. I mean, I'm sorry. And sorry, people are going to be like, oh, alcohol's poison. And I get it. I understand. And it's hard to find the balance of what is going to work for you. And I know that none of us are perfect.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, we're not perfect, but like, I find that sitting there and nitpicking around everything, and you can, there's like really no limit. And of course, like you pick and choose like what you decide to indulge in and what you decide not to indulge in. But at the end of the day, what you said, the fact that whatever you're doing, it shouldn't feel restrictive because then it's not sustainable.
Yeah,
Like,
and some days if I want a hamburger or I want pizza, I eat the hamburger or pizza. And what's the big deal?
exactly.
Because I'm not eating it every day, 24/7. I'm eating completely clean, no processed foods, no dairy, no gluten, no grain, no seed oil, nothing for 90% of the time. So if I feel like I'm in the mood for something, it's not a diet. It's really just like a lifestyle of living like with simple foods.
100%. So
Like-
wait, how did you even get into wellness? Because it's so funny because like when I was looking like at you, I was like, she's like my kind of girl because I'm a
that.
wellness girl, but like at the same time, I love to like
Party.
dress well and that too, but like I love
Yeah.
to dress and so do you. Like
Yeah.
you're like a jewelry, like just chic. So how
Yeah.
did you get into the wellness piece?
So my whole life. So I grew up, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's when I was in high school. And so,
Wow.
yeah, so I don't know how I got lucky because I talk to women all the time on social, all the time of women that are like in their 40s and 50s that are just now getting diagnosed with it. And it's interesting. And like, I was diagnosed early with it. So I have lived my entire life knowing that I have an autoimmune disease and trying to kind of care for myself. And it wasn't until I grew up in Santa Barbara, California. I grew up here. I went to USC. And I moved to New York, and it wasn't until I found this doctor that I currently go to, who's my endocrinologist, to get me off of gluten is sort of when it started. Because before that, I was always feeling like shit, and I was going to like every person for like a program or whatever it was, and I was spending so much money on stuff that never worked because I was being fed processed garbage. They're giving you these protein powders, or they're telling you it's like, and they're not teaching you how to simply read labels. The United
Totally.
States is filled, the food is filled with garbage. The seed oils, the cane sugars, the gums, the things that they allow in the foods in the United States. I mean, everything that's going on right now with Kellogg's, right now with the dyes. It's like, it's ridiculous. Like, why does the United States do that to us? And, we don't know any better. And so it wasn't until I educated myself, finally, I leased my store here in Beverly Hills during COVID. And we built the store out during COVID. And so when I was going back and forth building it, I had to quarantine for 10 days. And so I bought a bunch of books. And one of the books that I bought was Will Cole Ketotarian.
Oh, I love him.
He's the best. He's
the
amazing.
best.
He's honestly like there's something about that book that like, it literally was like a light bulb went off in my head when I read it. And it was sort of like, I tried the information spectrum, I tried some other things, and some of them felt not for me. And this one, for some reason, really resonated with me. I was turning 50 and I was ready to feel better. The brain fog was kicking in. My periods were irregular. I was tired all the time and sluggish. And I was like, I've got to change this. And yes, I was eating healthy and I was eating gluten-free, but I wasn't taking that next step of really like reading my labels and cutting out, like I said, the seed oils, the cane sugar, the dairy, all of those things. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to give myself 3 days to eat the way that Will is suggesting. And I did it, and within those 3 days, I literally felt like a different person. And so it motivated me to keep going, and it
Mm.
motivated me to start, removing more things that I was ingesting. So then I tested out, legumes, and because I loved beans, and I was eating a ton of beans, and I felt better not eating beans. I stopped drinking sparkling water. That changed my life too. I was less bloated. I was feeling much better. I was reading everything, and my favorite hot sauce had xanthan gum in it. Like, who
Oh
knew?
my
So
God.
I was
They're
literally
everywhere.
I cleaned out my fucking house, my refrigerator. I mean, here, like I literally was reading labels on Whole Foods with a mask on when I was here, and I started like just doing it on my own. And I was feeling better and better the more things that I sort of was cutting out. And I was like, okay, well, I'm learning how to eat just whole proteins and vegetables and cooking things properly. And also the tricks of like if you eat out, like make sure you're asking. They say it's cooked in olive oil, but then you have to ask them, is it a blend? And 9 times out of 10, it's a blended olive oil blended with a seed oil. So you can be eating healthy all day long if you're cooking for yourself, but then you go out to dinner and it's like sabotage because their restaurants are feeding you garbage
So
and you're
then,
not realizing it.
wait, so then what do you do when you're going out to eat
I
then?
eat a lot of raw bar.
Uh-huh.
I eat a lot of like steamed things. I ask them and I say, can you ask the chef if it's pure olive oil? And, and I'm just about being kind to the people that are assisting you in the
Totally.
restaurants too, is 90% of it too. Um, I'm just really careful. I bring my salts with me. I make my own salad dressing if it's because a lot of the times you ask and there's seed oil in the salad dressings too. You think you're being healthy eating like a grilled chicken salad and the chicken's grilled in seed oil and its dressing has seed oil in it. So it's really just about being more self-aware about what you're ingesting and taking the time and caring. Like, I'll be out with my girlfriends and they want to order French fries because they don't eat the way that I do. And I'm like, let's get a hand salad.
What's a hand salad?
So I kind of made it up. A hand salad is so we were at the Odeon one day in New York City, and they have the best French fries in New York City.
Uh-huh.
And we're all drinking, and I was like, let's get a hand salad. And it's literally just a mixed green salad that
Uh-huh.
on the side, I make a little dressing of some Dijon mustard and some pure olive oil,
Uh-huh.
my salt, a little lemon, and put it on the salad or dip in it. And we eat with our hands. So it's almost like eating a French
Wait, I
fry.
love that. It's like a crudité situation.
Because at the end of the day, it's like cocktails. It's almost like a ceremony. So it's like you want to have a cocktail and a drink, and then also it's eating the fries while you're socializing. It's just sort of like you're not really realizing what you're eating. And by the end of everyone wants another hand salad, and
Mhm.
yeah, sometimes another fry too. But like you can help other people along the way too make better choices.
I love that because something that I've learned with my wellness like journey that I've had over
I want to hear
years.
about you.
So, I mean, I got into this stuff because I had immune issues, and then kind of so long story short, basically, I was like that girl who was always sick, antibiotics, getting better, doing it all over again. This was like my entire high school, college, and then when I was like in my first job, basically, I ended up fracturing a rib from a chronic cough.
No.
Yes, it was insane. And I went to my doctor. They did like an x-ray and they're like, "Yeah, it's fractured. Here's some codeine. Let's like now you go home." And I was like, "Okay, but like how do I make sure this doesn't happen again?" And there were like no answers. And so that's kind of like that was my gateway into like changing my life, and that was also the gateway into like what led me to start Array because I got really into everything like holistic wellness, herbs, minerals, supplements, like vitamins, all of those things, and then nutrition as well, which I didn't know how to eat when I was younger. It's crazy. It changes your life. But something that I realized is that oftentimes, like what you're saying about the hand salad,
Mhm.
it's like, for example, I might enjoy like the marinara and like the cheesiness of a pizza, but I can get that on like a cauliflower, like a bowl
Exactly.
of cauliflower or something like
Exactly.
that,
It's the
So
same
it's like,
thing.
yeah, exactly. It's like the vessel. It doesn't have to be like the dough. You
Exactly.
know what I
It
mean?
doesn't.
So it's
And
like
you learn and like you get used to it. And then
exactly,
it's almost like you don't even crave that stuff anymore because
totally.
you also, the test too is also to like when you're eating really, really clean and then you go eat something like a burger or a pizza or whatever you're in the mood for that one time, you feel like shit. And
Mm,
and you recognize that like how much better you feel when you don't eat that way. So
yes.
that's also just being really self-aware. It's really just about self-awareness and just doing the work. And it's not that hard. And it's not, and people are like, oh, you're so restrictive. I'm like, I eat so much. I'm not restrictive. I am just careful about my choices.
Yeah.
There's a big difference. I plan. Like I pack my lunch for work
That's
every
what it
day.
is.
It's the plan.
It's the planning. And
Yep.
like I cannot stress this enough because even when you're going into the work week, because look, we both have businesses. It's and you're a mom on top of it all. Like, god damn, we need to discuss how you're doing all of the things.
It's a lot.
But for me, like if I don't know what I'm gonna eat for the week, then like what am I gonna eat? Like I'm gonna have to like order something that's convenient or like, just basically like do something that is not necessarily like a net positive, you know? So I like to plan what I'm doing on a Sunday because then again, I have a plan and I know like this is my menu for the
About
week.
having a plan. I do it for 3 days. But also it's more, the more, and I talk about this in the book that I just did, that it's coming out
Hmm.
March and September, but it's all about like lists and how to prepare your house.
Yes.
Like you have to make sure that you are grocery shopping, and you can keep, there's shelf stable stuff that you can buy that
Totally.
is clean. There is just the small vegetable shop that you do. Use your freezer. Keep your proteins in there. Make
Hmm.
sure that you have everything you need. If you want nachos when you get home after having cocktails, make sure you've got the grain-free chips and the right dairy-free cheese and an avocado and you're set. And coconut yogurt, like, and a hot sauce that's clean. You know what I mean? And you're set. Like I have pizza. I do it on one of my cassava tortillas. You know, you can still do all of it. You just have to get used to a new way of doing it and making sure that your house is set up properly for when you get, so if like you get home from work and you're tired and you don't want to order that food, that you have something in your freezer that you can put cauliflower rice, you know, shrimp, it defrosts really fast, things that you can do. And there's no excuses.
Yeah.
And you feel so much better.
You really do. And you know,
You really do.
sometimes like the switch is like you don't even feel it. Cause it was just like, for example, like rice and cauliflower rice. I don't even feel the fucking difference.
It doesn't even taste different.
It doesn't taste different to me.
It doesn't.
To me, like,
it doesn't.
and I'm like, okay, like maybe certain things are like harder than others, but like I'll make the swaps when it's easy and like I'm doing something good for my body. Like, why the hell not? You know? So yeah, I'm totally with you. Plan is really important.
Plan, grocery shop, use your freezer, use your pantry, make sure that you have spices, make sure that you know, there's basic things to keep in your house that stay in the fridge longer. And then you do like the 3-day shop, like, because I don't know what I'm going to eat. If it's Monday, I don't know what I want to eat on Friday yet or Thursday. So for me, what works is just shorter, and I waste less food. That's another thing, is I hate wasting food. And I was wasting so much food, like buying the mixed greens, thinking that I was going to make a mixed green salad. No fucking way. You know what I mean? So just buy the things that you know that you want to eat in a pinch, and you always have it there. Like I always have an organic rotisserie chicken.
Yeah.
Always.
Easy.
Everyone in my family wants to eat that. Always have, you know, it's just certain things, lettuces, avocados, like basic onions, fresh herbs, all of that stuff. You can use that to zhuzh anything up and like make something great.
It's true.
It's true. And it doesn't take that much time.
No.
Like my cookbook, like everything in it is like dummy proof, the easiest stuff in the entire world. None of it is for a chef. I'm not trained. I just need to live, and I need to get through it, and I need to feel better. And like, that's all it is basic things.
I completely agree. So were you always into cooking? Like, were you just someone who like, you know, liked to cook at home? Like, because I think that's something that people also tell themselves that like, oh, like I'm just not that girl. I'm not a chef. So like, what was your journey with that? All that?
So when I was younger, I mean, listen, growing up in Santa Barbara, my dad, my father has passed, but my father was amazing, and he would always barbecue and have these like, we were always into like cooking amazing things. And yes, we had great salads and grilled things, and we would sit outside. But then there was also like, yes, there was processed foods and things like that. Like I ate American cheese. I would go to Taco Bell. We would do all of those things. But when I was in 6th grade, my mom sent me to cooking class, and my art teacher was the teacher. And so I still actually have all the recipe cards from that, but it taught me all the basics. I went to Montessori school. I learned how to cook an egg there. And then just like through life, like when I became a mom, you know, I wasn't cooking when I was younger because we were going out all the time. But as I've sort of gotten older and I had to care for my family, I started cooking more. And it's always been very basic, and it's always been super simple. I found it very therapeutic, and actually for me, I used to say like, I don't go to therapy, I cook. Chopping an onion with precision is the most relaxing thing in the entire world. Just please try it. Try it. Like it's literally like, it will change your life. And once you sort of find like the timing in it, and it's exactly like for you, it's therapeutic. It is literally at the end of a stressful day, the biggest gift I can give myself, not only the food, but also like the getting there.
I could not agree more. And I have been like a big proponent of having like hobbies. And I feel like this is a hobby because it takes you out of your day to day. It is like so meditative for me.
Food yoga.
It really is. No, like
Literally.
I am like not even joking. Like the journey of getting to the meal, and like when it tastes really good and like I'm really excited to eat it. The whole process of prepping and cutting and like I don't know, like it
feels good.
It's so good. Like you're doing this like incredible, like you're giving this, like nourishing yourself. It's such a gift.
It is a gift because it takes time.
Yes.
And it doesn't take that much time, but it's time where you have to actually think about yourself, and you have to sort of like time out for a moment and focus on what you're doing to make sure that you are doing it the way that you want it to be done. And so it's like a therapeutic moment of like self-care.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a chore.
No, it really isn't. And it's funny because sometimes when I'm out of the habit of cooking, right? Like say, for example, I've been traveling or whatever, and I come back and then I'm like, oh, like, fuck, I have to cook now, right? I found that if you give yourself like just the first 5 minutes might be like, like pushing through, but then you're like, oh, damn, this feels like really
It's
good.
good, and it smells good, and then you're kind of like, "Okay, this is gonna be great. What else can I do with this?" I
Exactly.
used to drink when I would cook, like, during COVID when I
Yeah.
started doing I have this, like I have the food Instagram with Jennifer Fisher Kitchen, and
Yeah.
I was cook on it live during COVID and, like, with my salts and
I
everything,
love that.
and it was like I was drinking a lot because we were stuck inside, and I don't really drink anymore at home, which is interesting too. So
Neither
that
do I.
also I try to only, like so I love my cocktails, but I try to keep it out of the house. And that's another thing that I think is also helpful and makes you feel much better because you
Mhm.
don't wanna be drinking every night. It doesn't feel good, and you're tired the next day, and it affects your sleep. So, I think if you can, like, just cook and not really cocktail, like, it's more about cooking and nourishing yourself, like, that's my night off. And then if I'm out, I'm having a cocktail and I'm not cooking.
Yeah.
So that's sort of how I balance it.
I feel like we are
Are we the same
the
person?
same person. It's like, I'm like, wait a minute,
How do we not know
wait
each
a
other
minute. Like,
better?
this is so
We need
weird
to
that we're
hang
just
out.
meeting. Like, no, we really do because I'm the same way. And like
Let's go out
COVID,
tonight.
yeah, truly. COVID was insane
Yeah.
because I became like the craziest wine snob at that time because I was
So into wine during
no,
COVID
it was a
too.
problem. Like it was like
Yeah, I know.
so
Mine
after
was canned wine. I was like but it was good canned wine.
canned wine.
Oh, yeah. There
Okay,
was this yeah,
what
sorry.
brand are we talking here?
I can't even remember the name of it. You're gonna put me on the spot. This is my 53-year-old brain.
You have to send it to me.
They don't make so I drank the whole okay.
You drank their entire supply.
No, I did because there's this little wine store next to my house. It's like a really amazing like artisanal wine, and it
Yeah.
was this like it's this very like fancy canned wine.
Uh-huh.
I bought the whole like vintage of it. Like
All inventory.
I bought it
gone.
all, and I drank it all during COVID. I would like crack it. I would like put a little in my whatever I was making, and I would drink it. But
Oh,
you were a wine snob during COVID, red or white?
red. And now I've gotten
Love red
really
wine.
into whites. Like
I don't drink wine.
I love
Tequila.
like tequila is like slay. But if I'm at home or like if I'm having like a really nice dinner, then like just like a crisp glass of wine, like the whites are like right now specifically because like we just got back from Spain and like we got really into like the whites over there.
Spain is so great. I love Spain.
It's so good.
Did you go to Dea?
No,
Oh,
no.
so pretty.
I know. So we spent 5 days in not in Mallorca, in Ibiza. We were supposed to go to Mallorca and then Dea, but then we just didn't end up doing
So
that.
pretty. You got to go.
I'm obsessed. Like
Barcelona's amazing though too.
I've not been to Barcelona in a minute, but we did Madrid
Amazing.
this time after a long
Madrid's
time.
beautiful.
I'm obsessed with it. I'm like,
There's
what?
one restaurant in Madrid. I can't remember the name of it now too. We'll get it later. But there's good food in Madrid.
Really good food, really good coffee. Like I was kind of like,
Madrid's cool.
it was a sleigh.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Madrid's amazing.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say that tequila, like people don't realize how there's additives in tequila too.
I know.
That's another thing. So you have to
like,
make sure
really clean
you have to
tequila.
get
What's your
really
favorite
clean
brand?
tequila. I like Astral,
Uh-huh.
and I also like Lalo.
Yes, I love Lalo.
Lalo's really, really good. I
Lalo's
just got turned
amazing.
on to Lalo. It's amazing.
I have to actually
The
like,
Blanco's really good.
yeah, Lalo's.
And it's easier to find. Astral's
Yes.
harder to find, but Lalo you can find at more bars.
Yeah, we were in Austin earlier this year, and this is like shout out to Lauren and Michael because they got us on it. But like they were like Lalo tequila only, and like since then we've just been doing Lalo, and I'm obsessed with it. It's so clean. You don't even feel like you drank the last night when you drink it. It's so
Yeah,
good.
it's good.
It's
good.
really really clean.
But also not having sugar in it. Like it's like it's great, and it's an upper, and it's like tequila's great. I was like,
I
I'm not a
agree.
good vodka drinker. I get like mean and like I think I'm allergic to vodka to be honest. I used to drink
I'm not a fan
martinis all
of
the
it.
time. I'm done.
I do tequila martinis.
Oh, what's that?
They'll just make it with tequila instead of vodka.
So like vermouth?
No, like tequila. Like they'll just use tequila instead of vodka, and like they'll still do the olive juice and everything. If it's good tequila, it'll just taste really
That's
good.
so interesting.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that.
Neither had I. And then I tried it, and I was like, wait, this is really good. Like if you like olive and you like tequila, like it tastes.
I'm gonna
fucking
try
great.
it.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm gonna
It's
try
really
it.
really good. Yeah, do it.
Okay, I'm going out with my best friend later. I'm gonna get one.
I love
I'll,
this.
I'll DM you a photo.
100%.
I love olives.
Tell me about your journey to actually starting Jennifer Fisher Jewelry, because we've talked about the health piece and there's like still so much more I want to ask you, but I want to know about like how you started that business, because that was your first business, no?
Well, so I went to USC here. I went to Marshall School of Business. I was a marketing major there with a fine art minor. I thought I wanted to be the publisher of like Vogue magazine until I got my first internship, and I watched the racks of clothing going by, and I was like, this is the fucking wrong side. I need to be on the fashion side, not the crunching numbers for ad side. So I had a friend that worked for a director at Propaganda Films that needed a stylist, and I literally did a few little things. I did this like Pace Picante like salsa commercial, and I literally became a wardrobe stylist. I styled for 10 years here in LA.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy with no agent. I literally was just like freelance. I had all these amazing directors that I worked for. It was like incredible. I'd have like teams of girls on different jobs doing these on different sets at the same time. It was incredible. And then I met my husband, Kevin. He lived in New York. He was from LA also. We started dating, and I got diagnosed with a desmoid tumor on my chest wall. They
What
thought
is that?
it's a soft tissue sarcoma.
Uh-huh.
So it's not breast cancer.
Okay.
And it's technically not cancer unless it's given blood flow, which the first doctor who biopsied it was a breast cancer specialist, and he cut into it, which he shouldn't have. But luckily, mine didn't metastasize. So
Mhm.
mine is fine. I went through chemotherapy for it at Cedars-Sinai here in LA and at St. Vincent's in New York. It shrunk. I live with it. They can't take it out. The resection is so huge in order to take them out. So I
Mhm.
chose to live with it. And it's like it's dormant in my body, and I
Yeah.
just live with it. Um, but when I wanted to have a child, the tumor grows from estrogen. My oncologist said, absolutely not. You can't carry the child. You need to get a surrogate. And at the time, it was illegal in the state of New York to have a surrogate carry a child for you, but it was legal in New Jersey, Vermont, Florida, and California. And so Kevin and I, being from California, chose to do it here. So we went through it's like takes a year to get a surrogate. We
Mhm.
went through it. She got pregnant twice, miscarried twice. Second time, first pregnancy was like 12 weeks, so it was early. Second one was 16 weeks. We had seen a heartbeat. I flew to
Oh.
Sacramento to go and take her shopping because during the contract, that's sort of like what you do at that point.
Mhm.
And there was no heartbeat. So we had to go through the DNC, and then she quit, and it was horrible. And I went through IVF on my own in LA or in New York because I was like, you know what, I'm going to try this. It didn't work. And they're like, something must be wrong with your eggs from the chemo because the chemo that they gave me supposedly was okay for women and your eggs. And so they thought something was going on.
Mhm.
And then it was starting to kind of stress us out a little bit. So we took the summer off, and we had like a wild summer, like crazy summer of like partying, and I got pregnant. And I was like, fuck it, I'm keeping this kid. Like, I don't know what else to do. I'm keeping this baby.
Yeah.
And so I had to sign all these forms that if my tumor grew, I would, terminate the pregnancy, and I would have to agree to that because it would be really, detrimental to my health if it did. And it didn't. So my tumor actually shrunk. I had my son Shane naturally.
Wait, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, that is a crazy, crazy
It's a
story.
crazy story.
What the
It's
heck?
crazy. So I had my son.
Uh-huh.
And when he was born, me being a stylist, I'm specific about what I wear, and people were giving me gifts to represent him. And it was like this dinky, like mom joy. And I was like, this is so not me. I need and I collected charms my entire life. My mom and dad, when they would travel, would bring me back charms from wherever they went. And I had this giant charm bracelet. I'm like, I want some of these on a chain. And everyone was like, you're crazy. Like, charms don't belong on necklaces. They're for bracelets. I'm like, no, I want a charm necklace.
Mhm.
So I made this dog. I went up to 47th Street and being resourceful as a stylist, as one was here, because like you would get like directors asking you for the craziest shit that you would need on set the next morning. And I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go knock on doors and someone's gonna make this piece of jewelry for me.
Mhm.
And I found someone to make this dog tag, and I wore it on a very heavy, long gold chain, and I'd wear
Mhm.
it on set when I had on like a tank top, and it said Shane. That was my son. And I literally, like, the grips and the gaffers and everyone on set behind the scenes were like, oh, my sister would want that. My wife wants one. And I started making them for everyone on set. And then, being in the business, I was friends with a lot of hair and makeup artists. And my friend was Uma Thurman's hairstylist, and she wanted one. So I made it for her. And the day she got it, she happened to be shooting a Glamour magazine cover. And so my necklace ended up on the cover of Glamour on Uma.
Wow.
And so that was incredibly helpful. And then I started getting articles written. I started making them for some more like celebrity moms and like that. I became like, at the time, no one was really doing what I was doing. And I just started making them for more and more people. I started a website selling direct to consumer customizable fine jewelry.
Mhm.
And that's how it started. And
Wow.
I always wanted to be on the covers of magazines because I was like obsessed with fashion. And people were like, yeah, Jen, my friends that are editors, it's like charms aren't really like that, maybe do something that's a little more statement. And so I started making bigger pieces in gold, and I started getting magazine covers and magazine placements. And I was like, okay, there's something here about with the fashion jewelry. But it
Mhm.
was too expensive to do it in gold. So I started doing it in brass, and I was
Mhm.
plating it in gold. And that's kind of how it started. And I just started making more and more. Barney's came to me. I started selling at Barney's like back in the day. And I had a big giant section in co-op on, up on Barney's on Madison. And I continued my website only selling the fine jewelry, customizable, direct to consumer. Still to this date, that's our business model. We're about to start wholesaling the fine jewelry now that we're growing, and I have partners. But the fashion jewelry, and that's how I started making the hoop earrings. I was always, I didn't wear a lot of jewelry when I was younger, but I always liked hoops, and I loved watches, and I loved classic gold jewelry. And that's sort of how the hoop earring sort of started. I was like, listen, if Samira Nasser, who is now the editor in chief of Harper's Bazaar, was in fashion at the time and styling, and asked for a pair of gold hoops, and I made them for her. And
Mhm.
so my first pair of hoops I named after her, the Samira.
Oh, I
And
love
so I started
that.
naming them after people in the business that supported me. Like I've named them after like Erin Walsh and Carla Welch and all of these stylists that have really been supportive to me along the way. That's like
Mhm.
my party that I was here this week for Nicole Chavez. Like
Mhm.
people that I think it's really important to support these women that are behind the scenes that are
100%.
championing all these celebrities, and they're doing all of this fashion styling. for them to be name something after them because
Yeah.
they're doing so much work.
Uh-huh. I love
So,
that.
yeah.
So you've had your brand for a while.
Really long time. We've
How
been
long?
around for a long time. So I started when my son was born. My son's gonna be 20. 2020.
Wow.
Oh my God, so crazy. I can't even believe this. 19. So it's been around for a long time, but we've been under the radar because I was like the first person selling direct to consumer jewelry.
I mean, I don't think you're under the radar. I've like known your brand for like years now. And like I've gone into your Soho store, which is like stunning, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
It's like really beautiful.
Thank
But
you.
the reason I asked this is because, I think now especially there is this kind of expectation that people put on themselves where they're like, "Oh, I'm just going to have a brand and I'm going to grow it in like 2 years." And like
No,
that
that's a
like
different mindset.
yeah, but like I love that you've like built this thing
It's my
over
baby.
time and exactly and there's longevity and like real like intentionality and thought that has gone behind it. So I guess like can you talk a little bit more about that? Like what's your journey been like and like how have you continued to play the long game and like evolve as well and stay relevant?
But that's exactly what you need to do. You need to evolve. And it's not really about focusing on staying relevant, it's about evolving. Because like, my brand has changed so much over the years. Like, it
Mhm.
started off, it was much heavier, it was more like rock and roll and goth, and it was very different. The fine jewelry is looking different now. You have to go through evolutions of, like, changing, the styles and rebranding it, and also as I've grown, like, my style has changed as I've
Totally.
aged. So, really, like, the most important thing to me, and I think so many people now, just younger businesswomen, are so obsessed with, like, the short game of, like, "I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna cash out, I'm out." And it's just a different business mindset, and I
Mm.
think it's really important to not think about it that way. Think about the brand and what you wanna build instead of getting out.
Yeah.
I my intention is to never get out. Like, even if I sold this brand and I was out, I would still do something else or
Mhm.
do something new. But I'm also that's how I'm built.
Yeah.
And it's not hustler mentality. It's not all of this stuff that people try to coin of, like, overworking yourself. It's just who I am,
Yes.
and it's what I do, and I would not have it any other way.
I love that you say this and I so agree with you because I've had this conversation with my husband now she's my co-founder and we've talked about it 1,000 times like what would we do if we weren't doing it right? Oh, we'll start another business. Like and I wake up in the morning and I have my dream job. I'm like this is what I love to do, you
Mhm.
know? Like this is like truly what brings me the most joy. Like why would I want to just be out? Like then what?
But you're focusing on really building a brand, and there's a difference, and you can't do it overnight, and it's not something that happens overnight. There's so much. What we're living in right now. It's like the fast content and the fast everyone thinks they can start a brand in
It's
2 seconds
true. It's
by throwing
insane.
up a picture on Instagram, and it's like that's not a brand.
No.
The longevity of it needs to like you have to think about it as building it and growing it and evolving it over
Mhm.
time as you do it. It's not about a flash like I'm going to start a brand and I'm going to sell it tomorrow. That's not meaningful. There needs to be meaning in everything that you're doing when you're building a brand, or else it's not really a brand. No one's people right now to spend money in the economy that we're in right now. People, it's not just about the brand; it's about a feeling, it's an emotion, and people are buying that emotion.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and it's not about I'm just being who I am. I'm not, and when I first started my company, I thought I needed to be, I did the Vogue CFJ Fashion Fund. I thought it was, I needed to be a certain way. And I wasn't really being true to myself. And it wasn't until I finally matured enough or whatever it was, I stopped looking around. I focused on just myself and what I was doing and my product and what my journey is.
Mhm.
Because my journey is not your journey, it's not anyone else's, and your brand, even if it's similar, is different.
Yes.
And there's not competition because we're all doing something different, even in the same field, wellness, jewelry, whatever it is. We're all doing something slightly different because we're
Yeah.
all different humans.
Yeah.
And so just focus on being you and like your true self. And I think that's what people really see.
I couldn't agree more. And like, yeah, I think that authenticity piece, I think evolving and I think also realizing that like good things take time.
Yeah.
You know, like good things that like really stick around, they
Hmm.
take time. It's not like they're done in a day and like the
No.
next, you know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah,
no
it's
longevity in
true.
that. Like you want to be proud of
The
what you
long
build.
game is where it's at.
Uh,
Sorry. And I'm a big believer. Like I said, I'm 50. I'll be 54 this year. I believe like I want to be like I read all these stories about all of these men that are super successful, and that I'm like that's where I am going in
mhm.
my 50s and 60s to really build a giant brand.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is where I am just getting started. My 40s were practice.
Ugh, I fucking love that. Like
It's true.
that is
It's so
incredible.
fucking true. Like I have been practicing up until now.
Oh my God. Okay, so speaking of, so I think something that I really admire about you is Like you have this confidence and you're so like, you so own who you are. You have confidence in like who you are, where you are in life. What advice can you give to other women who are looking to embody that same confidence? Because it's everything from like, oh, like shaky about who you are, but also like fear around aging. You've not done enough. Like, where did this confidence come from? What tips can you give us?
I literally have been like this my entire life. I've been owning it over the last, 20 years when I've started this brand. Like, as I've grown with this brand, I've been kicked and shoved, and every day is hard. And there's things that happen every day that sometimes you're like, how the fuck am I going to get through this?
Mm-hmm.
But you do. It's like this thing. Have you ever seen that thing on Instagram where it's like, right, where the problem is right now, it's
Yeah.
giant, and then you look at it in a year and it's here,
Yeah.
and it's so fucking
It's
true.
so
It's
true.
so true. You're literally like highlighting everything, and it's like you're making a bigger deal than what it is, and you will survive. You will be okay. Maybe your life is not exactly as you imagined it going, but you will survive and you will be okay. You have to trust that the universe is taking you in that direction for a reason. And if something doesn't work out, if you don't win that fucking award or you don't get that deal, it's because there's another one out there or something different for you. And you have to really believe that. And most people just don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to really understand that, like, your path is different than, like, stop comparing yourself to people. People, stop. It's like literally the dumbest thing in the world, because we're all doing something different and we all are different people and we have different strengths. And like, what I succeed in is not going to be what someone else succeeds in. And that's great. And I'm, maybe what I used to want, and what I used to imagine my life and my business being like is different than what it is now. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's better in ways that you don't even imagine. That's another thing. Like, it's not just the negatives, the things that put you into these different places. It's all there for a reason. And then you learn later, like, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why that didn't work out, because this is here now.
Also, I feel like through these challenges, I'm like the biggest growth that happens or has happened for me thus far has been through things that have challenged me, has been through things that didn't work out the way I wanted them to. But then like you look back and you're like, damn, like thank God it didn't work out that way, because now I'm at this point and I would have never gotten to that point if it had gone that way. It's crazy. So I don't worry about that shit anymore, you know?
And that's powerful. And a lot of people don't have the self-confidence to understand that, or to really realize that, like, okay, I'm being pushed here for this reason and it's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
We all have our different, we were all raised differently. We all have different values. We all have different ways of looking at things. And I think the power of positive thinking is truly incredible. Like, I wake up every morning and the first fucking thing I do is I'm grateful that I woke up.
Yes.
That I have another chance to be challenged today and to have maybe not a great fucking day, but maybe a great day. You don't know. But how lucky am I that I'm here?
Mm-hmm.
My father died 2 years ago, and my father was an incredibly powerful person in my life. And when he died, it was very hard. But it made me realize, people are like, oh, don't you miss him? Isn't it so hard? And I said, I am so grateful that I had 84 years of his life as a father that was so incredible to me. Most people don't even ever have that. So be grateful for the things that you have and while you have them. And how lucky am I that I had him for that long? That was a long time. Some people don't ever even have that. And so then it also made me really, really aware of, like, every day is a fucking gift that you're here, that you get to be challenged. And it is hard every day. People might think, they look on Instagram and think things are great and you're doing this and you're traveling, but it is fucking hard work.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I have to kick and pull and scream and to get what I want and what I want to do in life. Like, I do every day. I mean, I'm not really screaming, but like I am literally working my ass off to get it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think anything just comes out of thin air. Like everything that, like every successful person you see, like they've worked for what they have, you know, they didn't just get there because like overnight success.
It's not easy.
No, it's not. But I think it's about your attitude during that journey. I completely agree with you, whereby, you know, whatever challenges we're handed, it's like an opportunity for growth. Like,
exactly.
I welcome it because I know I'm going to be a stronger, better, more resilient version of myself when I'm done with that challenge. And also, there's this really powerful, I don't have the quote exactly, but Marcus Aurelius said it, and like I'm a big proponent of stoicism. And something he said was, the challenges that come our way, they come our way because we can handle them.
Exactly.
So you are
they only
strong
give you what you
enough.
Can handle.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like you wouldn't have faced this challenge. It wouldn't have been going to a weaker person because they wouldn't be handling it. So it was thrown at you because like you are strong enough to handle it. So fucking handle it.
It's training. Also, though, it's training you how to handle it when it comes up next.
Absolutely.
So like in business, it's going to come up again. So at least you've gone through it. So then you know. It's like anything. It's like in school. It's like you take a test when you're younger and then you realize, oh, I that test, okay, next time I do this, I'm going to do that better.
Yeah.
So it's just learning.
100%.
And it's being comfortable in being uncomfortable.
Yes. Yes. Love that. Okay. So I need to get through to the part where I ask you about how the fuck you look so incredible. Like, I
Thank
need to
you.
know skincare. What have you been doing?
I'll
Like,
tell you everything.
tell me everything. Like,
I'll tell
dish.
you everything. I'll tell you everything. And that's in that I hate women that fucking gatekeep and lie about all this shit. It
Yeah.
makes me crazy because I think it's so stupid.
Mhm.
It's our bodies. It's our choice. We can do whatever the fuck we want with them while we're here because
Yeah.
we don't know how long we're here. So you
100%.
might as well do what you feel and feel however you want.
Yeah.
So I go to, so when I've been doing injectables like forever, like so
Uh-huh.
much so that I think I'm Botox like resistant now. But Jason Diamond did my Botox yesterday and did my lips. I'm a little swollen today. But I just pop into town and see my friends. My doctors are my friends.
I love that.
So when I turned 50, my gift to myself was a mini facelift.
Mm-hmm.
So my face started to go, like I'm eating anti-inflammatory. It was almost like, it's like natural Ozempic. Like you shrink wrap
Volume, yeah.
you lose volume as you age too. And so my face was starting to get like, I just wasn't liking the way it was looking. My neck wasn't looking great. And I was like, you know what? Dr. Kat Chang in LA, I'd heard about her. I spoke to her during COVID. We had like our little chat and I chickened out and I was like, I don't want to do it. And then finally, when I opened my store here, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. It's easy. It was honestly easier than doing my boobs. So like,
What was the downtime?
I was back at work 5 days later.
Shut
It's
up.
nothing. It was literally like nothing because I didn't do like a giant thing.
Yeah.
I think it's all about smaller, subtle things and doing
Mhm.
less. Less is more. Because like what women used to do back in the day with
I
these
know, it's
facelifts, and they were crazy, and the brow lift at the same time,
No,
and
it's
all of
just
that.
too
I
much.
haven't had that, but like all I wanted to do was get rid of some extra skin on my face and my neck, and so I did. And it was really like, you know, when you open up the pack of chicken breasts and there's that little white piece
Yeah.
and you got to cut off. That's literally like what I did. I was trimming the chicken breast. It's like not that big of a deal. And
Yeah.
the downtime was nothing. It didn't even hurt. It was just like not a huge deal. And I think it's really about choosing and finding the right doctors and doing your research. That was the hardest part. So when I met Kat, I was like, oh my God, yes. Jason was on vacation and I was like, I got 10 days to do this. And I met Kat in person here in LA. And I was like, all right, Kat, you're it. And she made me feel comfortable. She was amazing. So that was 3 years ago. And I do injectables. And it's Jason. I go to Dan Belkin in New York. He's amazing. And he's a laser specialist and a Mohs specialist. If you ever have any skin cancer, Dr. Belkin in New York is amazing.
Okay.
He's a great young doctor. And it's so funny when Jason goes to New York, Jason works out of the same office that Dan is in. It's New York Dermatology.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, Dan's amazing. Jason's amazing. We're like now
Jason's
like really good
incredible.
friends.
Yeah, I love him.
He's the best.
He came on the podcast and he like broke all the shit down. He's great.
He's the fucking best. He did this thing for me yesterday because I had some like nasal labial folds. And so
Uh-huh.
he was helping me with that a little bit. Yes, he's the fucking best. I also check his food when he goes in because he eats the way that we do. Did you know
I love
that?
Well, I had a
eats the way we
feeling
do.
because we met at a dinner at Brian Johnson's house, and like Brian Johnson's like really into like health wellness, like, you know, like super, super clean everything. So like that, like there was like a very specific crowd that was there. So I was like, I feel like we'll get each other.
Jason's
you know?
amazing. He's eating this like amazing food delivery service. We were like breaking it down yesterday. It's great.
What food delivery
I
service?
think it's called Sunflower.
I'm gonna look into this.
Sunflower, something like that. It looked fucking. It was like shrimp and mango with like lettuce. Tammy, I'll tell you what it is. It was amazing.
Oh my
Hi, Tammy.
God, yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Wow.
But I use his medicine, which is amazing.
It's so good.
It's so good.
So
I
good.
use it. You know what you use it for? And Tammy, we were talking about it. I'm using it as a primer now before I put my makeup on. The emulsion because it's
Wait,
better
that's
than any
so
primer. It's
smart.
fucking genius. It's amazing. So that, and then also, do you know who Kylie Cavaco is? Knockout Beauty.
No.
Oh my God, everyone needs to know who she is. She is like a skincare specialist, and she's got different boutiques. She's got one in Brentwood.
What's her boutique called?
She specializes in melasma. I don't have melasma, but we became friends.
yeah.
She's so knowledgeable about everything with skincare. And the greatest thing about her is she's not pushing like these big commercial brands. She has these amazing, like the efficacy of the products that she promotes, and she'll put you on a program.
Mhm.
She's changed the texture of my skin.
I mean, your skin is like there's
I need
no
a laser.
pores. It's
I need a
incredible.
laser, but like for the slide, this is the best podcast. But she's amazing. So I highly recommend. It's not only like injectables and like, you know, small. So I'm not advocating for everyone to go and get a fucking facelift too. Can we be really fucking clear about this? I think you need to do what works for you, what feels right for you within your budget, your life, whoever you are, whatever it is. But the skincare thing, like your texture of your skin as you start to age is so important. And Kylie is like the queen of that.
Her name is what?
Kylie Cavaco.
Cavaco?
Yeah, her father is Paul Cavaco, who is like a legend in the fashion industry. And they actually just started a podcast, but she's incredible and she knows everything about skincare.
Wow.
And she will get you the products that, I mean, most of the products that she had recommended me, I had never heard of before, but they're incredible. She's amazing. Kylie, what else? I think also the way that I'm eating,
That makes the
it has
biggest
made me look
difference.
younger. I
Yeah.
swear to God.
No, I completely agree with you. Listen, you are such a proponent of like anti-inflammatory everything. Like inflammation, it
It's
ages you.
real.
It ages you. It makes you look like puffy and tired. Like
Makes your skin gray. Like you lose the color in your skin. Like
I
you
agree.
just don't, the elasticity is not as good. Like you want bouncy skin. And like you think about it, like if you're putting garbage in, your skin is going to look like garbage.
Yeah.
So put good things in and you glow and your skin looks better. It's fresher. It's not as dry. Like
Makes the biggest
the
difference.
food is the biggest thing. Like, and that's why I can't scream. That's why I did this cookbook, is because so many people are like, what do you do? What do you do? I'm like, yes, I've done those extra things, but honestly, it's the fucking food.
Yeah. The food makes the biggest
plan.
difference. So wait, tell us about, you have to give us, I mean, we have like 3 minutes, but
Oh,
tell us a
we're gonna go
little, I feel like I could talk to you for like another 3 hours, but tell me about the salts. How should people use them? What are the different flavors? Tell us everything.
Okay, so the salt started because I couldn't find anything to put on my eggs in the morning. Like everything was like potpourri or a barbecue rub. No, because like my endocrinologist was like, eat eggs in the morning so you start your day with protein. But like, and I went to every specialty grocery store that there is, and like everything sucked. And I was like, I'm not gonna put this on my eggs. So I literally made a concoction. My father, being from Santa Barbara, would always ship me lemons and avocado, and I would always grate the lemon rind just to save the lemon. So I was using all parts of it. And I made this little concoction of kosher salt, black pepper, crushed red chili pepper flakes, dill, cilantro, and some of this lemon rind. And I would start putting it on everything. And my husband was like, what are you putting on all the food? It tastes really good. And I was like, it's that salt that I have on the side of the stove. So we decided for editor gifting, because as like a jeweler, you give out gifts when there really were a lot of magazines. And we gave them an avocado, a lemon, healthy chips, some chili oil, and my salt. And it was like, I did a spicy version of it at that time. And literally everyone, I got more thank you notes from like major editor-in-chiefs, and then also people wanting to write about it. And like, I'm like, shit, we got to package this now. So it literally started it that way. It was sort of like my jewelry. I couldn't find what I wanted, so I made my own. Same with the salt. I couldn't find what I wanted, so I made my own. And so the salts there's 3. The first one was universal, and that's one that's got the lemon in it. Spicy is with a spice. It's not a hot spice. It's a Korean gochujang, so it's more of like an umami. That's the most popular one. So the universal doesn't have garlic or onion, and that's intentional because that was made for the morning, so you don't have like dragon breath all day having like garlic and onion. So spicy is the most popular. I use it on everything. So use it to pre-season all your protein.
Yeah.
And then you can use it to finish. And then I have curry, which is a Japanese curry, which is delicious on avocado and tomatoes. Those are sold as a trio. And then we also have everything style spicy, which is like I should have brought you salt. I'm so sorry.
I'm going to buy it.
I'll get them for you. Everything style spicy salt, which is like an everything, but it doesn't have like the big chunks of garlic, because that's what bugs me about everything.
Yeah.
Everything seasoning. So it's like a little less garlicky, and it has my spicy salt in it. So that's like amazing I use that actually as like a seeded pre-season for my chicken. It's delicious. It's really good. And then you use it on an avocado and olive oil. Like
honestly, like good spices it's such a hack. Like it makes everything taste good. Your cooking does not have to be complicated. It just needs like good spices and good flavoring.
It doesn't. Like my chicken recipe, Mom's Not Lazy, Lazy Chicken, is literally like my fucking salt and chicken and like a little garlic powder and onion powder. And like that's all you need. And you use that on everything. Use it for salads, feed it to your fucking kids.
So good.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Oh my God. Okay, this has been so much fun.
This has been amazing.
Like actually the best. We have to hang out.
We have to hang out. I loved this. This was so great.
Tell everyone where they can find you. Instagram, website, all the things.
All right, my Instagram is at Jennifer Fisher Jewelry. And my TikTok is also at Jennifer Fisher Jewelry. My food is at Jennifer Fisher Kitchen. And don't get my personal one is Jennifer Fisher, which is like, I love posting memes. I have like a thing. So that's like my meme account or my fashion account where I put all my clothes and stuff. So it's really at Jennifer Fisher Jewelry.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. This was so fun.
Thank you so much.